Okay, my friends, here it is. The Saturday morning live stream at the Garden Like a Viking headquarters, Zone 5/6, Northern Indiana. A little bit late today. I was running up and down the stairs trying to find this one little adapter part that I had misplaced. And without that, there's no show. So, guys, let me know what you're growing. I just had to prune these marigolds back from outside because they were in the way of the holy basil. Tulsi is another name for it. We made some holy basil tea. So we're going to enjoy that for the first time. I have actually not had holy basil tea before. So hopefully it's not like the catnip tea that I tried several weeks ago, or where it just like knocks you out and makes you totally super tired. Yeah, catnip tea makes you really tired. Just FYI. So, okay, guys. Let us know. What are you guys harvesting? Has it been a good year for you? What do you got planted for the fall garden? We got all kinds of things to talk about today. I got all kinds of stuff to show you. In particular, one of my new favorites is the Velvet Queen sunflowers. Now, these have been inside for several days, so they're not at their prime, but these things are super beautiful. They're about 6 feet tall, and they have about 20 or 30 of these on each plant. They don't bloom all at the same time, but they come and then you cut them and you cut them and then they produce more. So it's really nice, actually, having this kind of color. Now, I'm probably going to put these out front next year because of how showy they are. So beautiful. But the other ones, the evening sunset mix, has anybody grown those before? These things are like 10 feet tall. Yes, sound check. Okay. Melon squash. Yes. What did I say in the sound check? We gotta know. We gotta know. Yeah, I'm gonna be going back to the landscape mode, by the way. So next, okay, good. Muddy Paws, Big Will Dog, AK Froggy, Terry Goody, Look to Nature Homestead. Yes, yes. Okay, nice. Thank you, guys. I'm gonna be going back to the landscape mode before long. So because it's just this is not. I don't like it. I just don't like it. So I don't care what they're trying to push. We're just gonna go back to doing that way, so I can use my hands, and it's just more. It's just better. So and Donald Hughes says Melanie squash. Yes. Okay. So and that reminds me. Well, no, I'll talk about that later. So the Blue Wolf says, I got 500 pea plants taking off. 500 plants. That's amazing. And guys, your pothos, they should all be outside right now. But look, see, it's that hot, humid weather. They love that. So if you've got any of the house plants that we use as house plants, like the philodendron, the pothos, the wandering Jew, or the any of those palm plants, they evolved in the jungle, and so they like it to be their sweet spot is 82 degrees and about 82% humidity, and they'll just explode with indirect light. You know, they want to reach towards the light. So yeah, this thing obviously is going to get irritating. It's hitting me in the head all the time, but oh well. And this microphone, I can't figure out where to place it so it's not right in the middle of things. Guys, I'll be doing some kind of radio broadcast Monday evening. They sent me a list of questions, but it's in like the Minnesota. The broadcast goes out to like Minnesota and Wisconsin and the UP and Michigan and stuff like that. Maybe some of Chicago, towards Chicago, I think. That'll be cool. It's just a little 15-minute thing. They're going to interview me over the phone, and then I'll be on the broadcast, on their show or whatever it is. So that's cool. Not really sure what it is, but yes. Can you hear the cricket? Wow. Sam Potzek and your special guest, the cricket. Yeah, you can hear the cricket. That's pretty impressive. Val Thatcher says, won't bugs get in the pothos? No, you put them outside and they are, ooh, listen to that. Oh, the rain is coming. Guys, we need rain so bad. I mean, it's just, This is part of the reason why I'm totally redoing the entire garden at the end of this year, and for next year, and the next couple of years that I'm here, because I'm done relying on the rain. Done. But yes, the pothos, all those plants are, well, the pothos in particular is impervious to bugs. At least any of these bugs around here. They don't get mites, they don't get aphids, they don't get anything. Nothing eats them. So they're an unbelievable plant. They really are. So that is something that you can keep in mind when putting them outside. All right. Yes, Jerry Bates is here. Yes, definitely. You guys watched the video I did yesterday about the compost tea on the large scale. Yes, it's a wonderful setup. So we're excited with what's going to be happening there. And I know you guys are too, based upon the comments. So thanks for all the love you guys leave in the comments. And like I said, as this operation here grows and expands and we will begin looking for land, you know, this is still a couple years off, but we'll begin looking for land and I'll take you guys along on that process, the thought process. Then once we get some land, then I will take you along and I'll show you the thought process behind everything, the process, you know, the different gardens, the number of cattle that we'll have, just a few, of course. And everything will be sustaining the land itself. Everything will be sustaining itself. So you will see all of this stuff. So there's going to be a lot more of that kind of content. I hope you guys are into it. You can't just make a whole channel forever about how to make free fertilizers, you know? So there's so much more to it. So let's see here. Let me get situated. And Tigress Learning says, it's 86 here with 87% humidity in Northeast Georgia. Ooh, yeah. Your pothos would be nice. They would love to go outside right now. So happy to run for me says, I planted so many. Can you guys still hear me? Is this loud and clear? Says, I planted so many Tahitian melon squash plants for the fall. They are taking off. So excited for the fruits. They kept for 9 months last year. Could have gone longer. Yes, so you must be in a really warm zone because, again, melon squash, the winter squash is very frost sensitive. So if it frosts even once, that's it. They're dead. So you must be in a nice place. That being said, guys, look. Guess what this is? You already know. Still, we're coming up. It's pretty much a year. I mean, it's been 11 months for sure. And this thing is still rock solid. No problem in the basement. But guess what? Yesterday I was cleaning out the basement so that I could store these new delicious Rosa de Milano onions. Look how beautiful these things are. And I found a rogue melon squash. You see? And it's still rock solid as well. So guys, the Tahitian melon squash is one of the best foods, or one of the best plants you can grow if you're talking about having a food security crop, as far as just put it in the basement and let it go. And it doesn't need any special attention. It's not real finicky like potatoes can be, and carrots and all that stuff. No, these don't care. These are more like sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes will store long time. I just got rid of some from last year as well that were still solid, but we're going to have a new crop coming in before too long. Yeah. Look to Nature Homestead says, planted 4 of them, got nada. Yeah, I've been following your progress, if you want to, or your situation on the Discord chat. And, you know, I feel for you, definitely. I think you deserve a free and on the house one-on-one consultation. So if you would like to do that, let me know. We'll schedule an hour sometime, and we'll do it via video conference, and we'll just see what's going on. You know, we'll see what went wrong. We'll just talk about some stuff and maybe get you a plan for next year or something. So let me know if you want to do that on the house. All right, because I feel for you, man. So, and because you're really involved in the Discord chat, sharing all kinds of good knowledge and information. Now, one thing about the Discord chat, guys, for those of you that are on it, which should be all of you, all right, because there's so much good knowledge and information being shared on the Discord that we need you there. So we want you there, all right? But it's about sharing personal firsthand experience. So there has been recently some kind of like an AI, I don't think it's a bot, it's a person that is utilizing the AI, some kind of AI engine. So sort of using the database. I don't fully understand that kind of stuff, you know, but sort of using the database or all of the answers and stuff to train the AI. And so he's leaving these AI generated responses that have good information in them. The responses, they're really long and in depth. You know, they have the answer to the question, sort of, but there's not that. The AI, it just boils down to the AI can never have experience. The AI can never have experience with growing. It doesn't have any experience with what it's talking about. And so it's drawing from a database, but I know from my own life and from research and from the internet and everything, the internet is filled with all kinds of just incorrect information. I won't call it misinformation or malinformation, just information that isn't correct. And so if it's drawing from these databases of incorrect information or whatever, then it's just kind of a generic response. So what do you guys think? If you're in the Discord chat, I kind of want to take a vote if you're here. Are you know what I'm talking about then? Because the AI answers were in everything. You know, he's really trying to train this AI system. How do you guys feel about it? Do you want that kind of thing allowed, or should we speak to him and say, hey, let's back off the AI answers? Because what we really want in the Discord chat is the human, you know, that's what I want. I'm all about the experience. Tell me your knowledge from experience, okay? And I mean, I'm really resistant to that kind of stuff. Just because in my day, I'm really resistant to that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Teach treats. Okay, yeah. So guys, let me know. Just say your thoughts on the AI or not. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then join up on the Discord chat. It's free, and just look at some of the answers. The knowledge is not incorrect. It's just weird. It's not human. You know, it's not like. It's hard to put your finger on the AI thing, isn't it? So, anyways, I just like the AI, or I mean the human experience, and I want to keep that human. You know. So, and that's great if you want to train your AI system and stuff, and that's cool. That's all for you, you know. But I don't really want to be a part of that, you know, myself. So, okay, guys, let's look at it. Donald Hughes says no to the AI. All right, there's one. And Spinster Mountain says, yes, I would say the human experience is more valuable to preserve. The Discord is about people connecting. The machines have enough space already. Yes. Okay, so there's two of the no's. And I agree. I mean, the machines, it's, how do you guys feel about the AI stuff? I mean, it is, as a content creator, it is over, the speed at which it is overtaking things is unbelievable. Whole videos created without any real people, without any sets, without anything. And you can't even tell. You can not even tell anymore. It's only been a year, if that. You can't even tell. Guys, it's going to be crazy. I mean, it's totally going to be insane. The internet will be compromised in the way you just won't know what's real or what's not. So, Signal Loss says, AI is not a database, it's an algorithm. Okay, so yes, I do understand that. Yes, I do understand that. Artvar says, AI is great, but not on the Discord. Should be free of it. Okay, there's three. Now, I tend to lean towards that way as well. AI is great and as a tool. We can use it as a tool, but the Discord is not the space for that. Teats Treat says, AI is not any way, shape, or form the Viking way. That's what it boils down to. That's really what I'm trying to say. The AI is not in any way, shape, or form the Viking way. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. And that's enough for me, you know? Lucas says no AI. Yes. Masabi Gal says no AI on the Discord. Okay, we're getting a lot of no AIs. Okay, Big Wes and Karen says no. Pam says no. Okay, 20th Cent Boy says AI told me to say no. Okay, signal loss, no AI, no AI. Okay, it's becoming pretty clear. Okay, Val, all right, no AI. Too long-winded. Dan Henry says too long-winded. Jay Brammer, okay, we got you guys. Look to nature. Yeah, I have no question what your opinion is. So yes, the AI created confusion, and Fabrizio says it's overwhelming. Yes, okay. Canine Resources, no. Nancy Dewald, no. Okay, it's clear, no. So, all right, well, I'll have a talk with the guy. I think it's a guy. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I think it's a real person. Although you don't know anymore because you can, I've explored these tools and stuff, and you can enter the parameters. You know, you can click a filter that says sound more human-like in your responses, and it will reword its response to not sound like a machine, and it will actually put errors in the comment. It's just it's unbelievable. And so I don't even know if it's a real person, you know? So now okay, so we can move on from that then. I think it's for real. So Sam says, Sam Potzik says, remember when you could easily find some information on Google without trying to be sold something irrelevant? Yes, this is also true. And you could find what you're looking for. You can't find, okay, you can't find what you're looking for anymore. But let us get back to the gardening stuff, okay? So that's what I had to question. So all this AI talk, this is more for the Thrive Like a Viking Tribe that we do every Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time on the Thrive Like a Viking channel. So we will have an AI discussion there in the upcoming weeks, a specific discussion on AI. So the Viking Shield Ama says, I like it when I ask a question, a real human answers, and we form a relationship of sorts through the conversation. Yes, of course. Definitely. That's the way it's been done for so long. Muddy Paw says, if I wanted a robot to run my garden, he better be bringing a shovel. Better be bringing a shovel. Okay, Zebra PT says, water your compost versus do not water your compost. I've seen in-depth videos on both. It's not really a question about watering or not watering. It's about moisture level. So if your setup is such that it's become bone dry, then you need to water it, because the compost must have water. So, and it depends on what kind of thing that you're doing. It depends on what kind of thing you have. Brian Airy, $5 via PayPal. Thank you very much, my friend. Says no AI. Okay, there we go. The tribe has spoken with the AI thing. Lisa Turks, $20 via PayPal. Thank you, my friend. Says Nate, much appreciate you. You are elevating lives. Greetings to the Thrive Garden Tribes. Nice. Thrive and Garden Tribes. Thank you very much, Lisa. Elevating lives. I love that, because that's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. So watering the compost is necessary if it dries out, but if it's wet already, there's no need to water it. So it's not a question of whether or not to add water. It's a question of how moist is it. So you want it to be moist, but you don't want it to be so moist as to be able to wring water out. If you squeeze it really hard, it shouldn't really even form it should maybe just form a drop if you squeeze it hard. But any more than that is unnecessary. Now, here's the thing, that people love to overcomplicate stuff. They really do. It makes them feel like they're doing more if it's super complicated and really particular. So you'll hear people saying, well, you gotta get the moisture meter, and then you gotta continually put it under the microscope, and then you gotta do all this stuff to it. Gotta make sure that it's blah, blah, blah. But not really, though. You don't actually have to do all that. You can simplify it, and you can just say, okay, it needs to be moist enough, but not too moist. So that gauge is just what I just said. So if it's like dry to the touch, you need to add some water. And preferably when you add some water, make it aerated compost tea, or make it Jadam microbial solution, or make it water with labs in it and some fish fertilizer or some urea, some urine fertilizer. Make it something that will give it more nitrogen or more oomph to break down. So that works really good. Now, if you're hot composting, and now I assume you're talking about slow composting. If you're hot composting, it's different, which, man, I set up a real nice system that I'll be making videos on, but it'll be for the spring. But, oh man, a real nice system for the hot compost. Got that thermometer in there, got the thing monitored, got these little bins that I'll show you guys and stuff. Really nice. Makes it way nicer than just doing piles on the ground. Masabi Gal says, aerated compost tea has really helped to compensate for a dismal spring. Ooh, where are you at again? I forget. You're in Africa somewhere. Is that right? I thought. Okay, holy basil and some orange mint tea. Okay. Tastes kind of hearty, tastes earthy. The holy basil, we just made a pork dish with it last night from some pastured pork from my Amish friends, and super delicious Thai dish. But the holy basil is, I'm trying to think, it's very savory. It's like it doesn't have that overwhelming sort of almost numbing effect that like Genovese basil has or Thai basil. But the holy basil has, it's a lot more earthy. I don't know how, like root-like. It almost tastes like a root of some kind. It's very different. So very enjoyable. Almost like a green tea. Have you been to like Chinese restaurants where they have toasted sesame green tea? You know what I'm talking about? This is what it tastes like. Oh, Masabi Gal says, no, I'm on the Masabi Iron Range of northern Minnesota. Ooh, Minnesota. Okay, so you're quite a ways away from Africa. I don't know why I always thought, I think, because I'm thinking the name Maasai is what I was confusing that with. So, Sasquatch Mines says, all of my apples have wormholes. What can I do? Guys, help out Sasquatch Mines. If they already have wormholes, what can they do? What can they do? Somebody says, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Yes, I remember that very clearly from my time traveling through Muslim countries such as Morocco. I rode my bicycle from Madrid through Andalusia, through Cordoba, and then into Tangier, and down the coast to Agadir, into West Sahara. And that whole time you can hear over the loudspeakers, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, multiple times a day, and everybody comes out to pray. It's really amazing. So that brings back memories, gosh. Shawnee says, in the garden listening. Yes, that's what it's all about. Guys, how's the mosquitoes where you're at this year? They've become so strong here that you can't hardly go out. We have to put sweatsuits on, literally, and put the hood up and put shoes on. Or at least, well, we don't put shoes on. We just get bit up on our feet, actually. Although we should put shoes on. But I just love being barefoot in the garden. So, man, they are horrendous this year. So, let's see here. Now, guys, guess what? We are making these. So these are, now watch. These were just made on the 7th with the Chicago pickling cucumber and the some garlic, either the Bates family garlic or the Italy Hill giant garlic is amazing. So guys, look, and these are just lacto-fermented. So watch the video I made. They're already ready. Look, if I just crack this lid a little bit, let's see. Look at that. Look at that. You see? Look at all them bubbles, all that good stuff. This lid breathes anyways, but man, they are full on fermenting because it's like 75, 80 degrees. Look at that. Black peppers, garlic, bay leaves. These are so delicious. It's incredible. So delicious. So, yes, it's alive. Exactly. B. Hendricks, it's alive. And these will store like this. Now, you can let them ferment like this for a month or even 2 months, shelf at room temperature. But then you need to move them into the refrigerator for best storage, for them to stay crisp. But really ideal is about a week to 2 weeks. 2, even 3 weeks at room temperature will make them nice and soured. And then you put them into the fridge where they'll last. I was just eating the last of last year's. So they stay good a full year, crisp and delicious. And there is no vinegar in these. Remember, we don't use vinegar in any of our we don't do pickles like that because it's dead. This is alive, fully alive. And so, you can see the life is creating these bubbles. Look at that. If you guys want these fermentation weights, I got them in my Amazon storefront. So, Rick Thillian says, too many commercials. See, someone else just said, I didn't get any commercials. So, Mom Computer says, Allah Akbar, Allahu Akbar means Allah is the greatest, but it also implies that Allah is greater than being described, greater than anything in existence. That's a beautiful thought. That's a beautiful thought. Weebler says, any experience growing chamomile in the fall? I didn't get a chance to preserve my summer harvest before they died off. That depends where you're at. Now, it will grow vegetatively. Well, I'm sort of experimenting with that because last year was the first year that I actually planted it in the late summer, about now. Planted it about now, and it grows vegetatively, or even like another month from now. It grows vegetatively, and then it goes dormant over the wintertime. And it is very cold hardy. Chamomile's very cold hardy. We had, it was like in the negatives, Fahrenheit, like -5 or 1 or 2, something like that. For several days this past winter, and the chamomile survived, totally survived. And then in the early spring, it grows really strong. So, it grows really strong. So now I do have some chamomile plants that are about that big right now. So I'm not sure if they're going to flower yet. I'm not sure what their senses like to do, but obviously they are the kind that make it so that if you observe the plants, you will see a lot of the plants are meant to start in the middle of summer. The brassicas, so many of the plants are meant to start in the middle of summer and then overwinter. So the chamomile is one of them, definitely, because it drops its seed right now. It's like the onions that drop their seed in the, last month, and then they grow a little bit and form a little bulb, and then next year, boom, grow their flower. Yeah? So, you want to observe that. So you want to observe those natural cycles and things, all right? Now, yes, Mom Computer says, AdBlock Plus installed will prevent commercials. I get none. That's true, and that's great, and that's cool. That's good for you guys. But at the same time, the content creator gets no money from any of that. Because every time a commercial is played, we get a tiny fraction of a percent, something. But that's how the creator makes the money. That's the only way. So, but I will be, well, I don't know. So let's see. Heather Fox says, this is a gardening live chat. Relax, people. Everyone's pretty relaxed. AK Froggy says, maybe save the religious discussion for the Thrive. Yes, we could. Definitely. We talk about all that kind of stuff. Val says, Nate, can I use my yellowed cucumbers for fermenting? I wouldn't. I looked at your pictures on the Discord and stuff. I don't know if I ended up replying to that or not, but when the cucumbers get to that point, I mean, they need some serious nitrogen. They need some serious nutrients, for one. But for two, I saw big swollen cucumbers on there. And the cucumber plant, I could be wrong because it was just a few pictures, but remember, the cucumber plant is the most sensitive of all the plants to deadheading, or to, if you let even one cucumber go until it turns yellow, then the whole plant just says, okay, we're good. And it virtually shuts down, or it begins to shut down. All right. So it does not. So you don't want to let them go thinking, okay, I need to let it go longer and longer. If you make, or if you let even one of them go until they're overripe or until it turns yellow, then that signals to the plant that its life purpose has been fulfilled. And so it's you really want to, if you want the maximum production from your cucumbers, you need to pick off the first half dozen or dozen cucumbers even much sooner than you would use them. I mean, pick them off right away. As soon as they get a little bit big, pick them off. That signals to the plant. And also cut it back. Cucumbers, you can cut back hard and they will just keep, if they're healthy. If you're trying to grow cucumbers in pots, then forget about it. Even 30-gallon grow bags is not enough. For cucumbers just don't like that. I've tried. I mean, maybe you guys can have found a way, to have really thriving ones, but no, I'm talking about, if you saw these cucumber plants, they were like alarming. They were Jurassic, just it was just two or three plants just crawled over the whole 5-6 foot trellis, 8 feet wide, just covered the whole thing and was spilling out all over the place. Dozens and dozens and dozens of cucumbers. And I kept pruning them back hard, and they just kept growing more. So they're really robust if they're grown right. But if they're not, then it can be, well, you kind of have to nurse it along a little bit more. Okay. So that's my answer on that. And guys, we are getting the Egyptian walking onions set. So I totally forgot to put the list together again, but it's happening. So because now September and October are the times. If you go to like Baker Creek Seed, they're also selling 3 bulbs for $19. And they say that September and October is the ideal time to plant. Now you guys are going to get way more than that. You're going to get plenty. Bulbs and also the bulbills. And so plant them immediately as soon as you get them. You want to plant them. So have the area prepared. Now, Egyptian walking onions are extraordinarily hardy. Perhaps the hardiest of all the plants that there is, that I know of that we grow in the garden. As much as mint. So, but have an area of nice, prepare it really well so that it's nice and fertile, and then have some mulch. And then you're going to plant them bulbs and the bulbils at the appropriate spacing, and then mulch over them. Now, they will probably begin to grow yet this year, definitely. And they will put down roots, and then you want to mulch them heavily in the late fall, early winter, so that next year they're going to grow, and you'll get top sets, definitely. All right. So Ashley Groan says, my bell peppers aren't growing much. Any advice? What am I doing wrong? I would have to know what you're doing in order to know what you're doing wrong. But I can say that peppers are very hungry. So fertilize them. Yes, fertilize them. Yes, fertilize them, please, so that they are growing rapidly. Now, a good way to encourage fast growth is to foliar spray with something like the fish fertilizer or aerated compost tea. But my recipe of aerated compost tea has the fish fertilizer in it. So the reason this happens is because when you foliar feed, it signals to the plant that there's nutrients out there. And so it will encourage, you can't force the plant to do anything it doesn't want to do, but you can encourage more leafy growth that way because it says, whoa, here's the nutrients. So it will have more leafy growth. Now, we're not relying only on foliar feeding because that can hinder the production of roots as well. But if you're foliar feeding can be like a prescription, like a medication. A medication, you take it for a little while only to correct something, but you don't just stay on it forever the rest of your life. I mean, hopefully you don't, but I mean, no judgment if you do, but I'm saying it's like that. So you don't want to rely on foliar feeding, but if you need it as a tool, as a bit of a medication, then yes, you can use it. Yeah. AK Froggy says, I have tried fertilizing peppers and they get lovely and green and happy, and they can't be bothered to put energy into the peppers. I mean, that can happen as well. It depends. It depends. So I still get pretty good pepper production. So, guys, you should see my brother's garden. My brother's garden puts most gardens to shame, and it's well, I mean, it was designed, of course, and fertilized by yours truly, of course. And so really my brother just waters it and harvests, but still, we'll call it my brother's garden. But guys, it is, I mean, the produce that he has got from this thing, he's got one purple bumblebee, one Roma plant, about 5 pepper plants of various kinds, and then some beets and some strawberries. And then you saw, if you watch my short that I made in the spring, how to make a cattle panel trellis for the cucumbers, he's just got 3 cucumber plants that cover this whole trellis. And now guys, this is from one Roma plant. He just sent me this morning. Look, and I counted, there's almost 70 in the jar as well. This is just, and he's been harvesting, look at all these cucumbers. He's harvested, he'll text me all the time, hey, just harvested 17 more cucumbers. And look at those peppers. And there's so many Romas, and they've been eaten from that garden all summer long. And it's just a tiny little thing. Watch the short that I made about cucumber trellis, and you'll see his garden in the spring. And that thing is pretty much everyone's dream garden for a tiny little garden. You know what I mean? And this is why. Number one, because it's manageable. It's not too big, which most people go too big. And so he can take the care to water it by hand every day, or as often, so long as we don't get rain. But the number one is that it is the Viking nutrients. I put not a boatload, but I put the appropriate amount of the Viking nutrients in here. And so guys, this growing medium, this is his 2nd or 3rd year with this garden. This growing medium is just bales of Pro Mix, peat moss, pure peat moss, and Viking granular nutrients. That's it. He doesn't do aerated compost. He doesn't do anything else. Just waters, and that's it. And it is designed in a way. It's 2 feet wide by about 32 feet long, or maybe there's 2 beds that are 32 feet long. It's pretty long, but it's only 2 feet wide. But it's a foot deep, and it's packed all the way to the top with that mixture, and it's open to the bottom, so it drains really well, and it holds on to the nutrients as well. And the roots can go down into the soil beneath, which is just pure Indiana clay. Has never been anything here. Okay, so guys, to get that kind of harvest for most people with a little tiny backyard garden, it doesn't get better than that. So that is because consistent watering, the right setup, and the Viking granular nutrients. It really is. So I did go over there about 3 weeks ago, and I top dressed because he's been getting loads of harvest all summer long, but I top dressed with a few more liters of the Viking granular nutrients. But guys, we're talking about one Roma plant. So yeah, that's what you want. I mean, that's what you want. The biggest bang for your buck. So So the man, you guys are talking about the ads constantly. What is going on today? Why is so many people concerned with the ads? I mean, the content creator only gets the option anymore. Do you want to monetize the video or not? And if you click yes, then you get to choose from three modes: conservative, moderate, or aggressive. As far as the advertisements go, I always choose the most conservative. And it says conservative means lowest revenue for the creator, but the least amount of commercials, as opposed to the aggressive one where maximum revenue for the creator, but maximum commercials. I always choose the most conservative on all my videos, on everything. So I don't really understand, why that would be, why you'd be getting blown up. But if you don't monetize the video, then guess what? You don't get any money, but YouTube still puts ads on your video and it keeps all the money. So they've changed things a lot, It's not 2012 anymore. So P. Morton says, I got about 20 Roma tomatoes total from 3 plants. I think too much rain, maybe next year. Now, I hear so many people talking about too much rain. Now, the only way that too much rain would be happening is if you haven't designed your bed in such a way that it drains totally freely. Because rain is a wonderful thing. And so long as the drainage is there. So it's probably not too much rain. But, I also see a lot of people, when I do consultations and stuff with people, and I go to physical consultations and things, and just over the years, one of the number one issues that I see is sun exposure. People have not enough sun exposure, and they try to grow these sun-loving crops like tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers and things like that. As opposed to, so I'll see, and they'll be like, yeah, can you figure out what's wrong with my tomatoes? And I just see shade everywhere, just dappled sunlight. They're like, oh yeah, I got a couple of these trees, and they'll show me, and there's a massive oak tree just right over the, So remember, guys, plants are solar powered, especially the heat-loving plants, like the squash and the corn and the wheat and soybeans and wheat is not a heat-loving plant. I don't know why I said that. But you know what I'm talking, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, things like that, sunflowers. So they need sunlight. So if you're not having the appropriate amount of sunlight, then you're going to have issues, big time issues. And they'll produce enough to reproduce, but they won't produce like a bounty like my brothers, like you just saw there. Okay. DLR says, it's surprising how many folks set their gardens up without southern exposure. I know. He says, I don't get it. It's always the first advice I give to newbies. Absolutely. And it's not talked about enough in the gardening community. That's the first thing you got to think of. It's not, everybody wants to think of, well, my soil is not the right kind of soil. And so now the first thing is you got to assess, what is your sun exposure? Now, I was very fortunate here because there is no trees anywhere as far as we get full on sun. So now, let's see here. Yes, Nathaniel Graham says leafy greens are shade loving. Definitely. So you can do that. Nima says, man, I forgot to consider trees when I planted out stuff this year. Our neighbor's trees grew so much this year. So frustrating. Yes, that happens. That happens. Let's see here. Mo says, I think ads may vary between type of screen, TV, phone, computer. I don't mind the ads when I watch on phone, but when I watch your old videos on TV, I think there's more ads. Ah, that could be. That could be. And it also says that people experience ads differently. Naturally by Darla says, to learn and hear your wisdom is worth dealing with some commercials. Thank you, my friend. That's the spirit that we need. Okay? So now there was a comment by Ronvig that I wanted to address, but it's lost already. So give me a second. until they... I'll try and find it. But Crockett P says, I thought my peppers were done and then suddenly started putting on peppers recently after a long time of nothing. Zone 6A. Peppers are like that. Peppers are like that. They're the most finicky of all the plants. Definitely. They are the most finicky. Yeah, I guess I can't find the one from Ronvig because it started. We're in the same growing zone. But Christopher Mennel says, "Hi Nate, your calcium video of 2 years ago. You mentioned that the eggshells must not be powdered as it does not help anything. Did you have a change of mind?" Okay, so here's the thing, guys, with that video. And I had no idea that video was going to blow up like it did and stuff. You never know what videos are going to really do good. The ones that I think should just be phenomenal and do really well just do nothing. But the ones that are like kind of simple, I don't know. But anyways, so when I made the video, you can't cover every single one of your bases all the time. You just have to say what you're going to say and put the video out because you can't, because otherwise you would just be paralyzed with over analyzing things. Did I get everything? Did I get every single tiny little thing that I needed to say? But so what I really meant by that was that I don't powder them is that when I was making this stuff in the mountains in Northern California, I would powder it sometimes, and every time I powdered it, my drip emitters or my backpack sprayers would be clogged. It would clog the emitters. And so I just got away from doing it that way because that powder is so fine, that it just gets in there and it clogs stuff. And so that is why I just do it the traditional way that I learned from K&F, to just crush them and roast them. Now, I never needed to do it any other way. So that is why I stopped powdering them. And I said in the video, don't powder them because of all that experience of getting my drip, the hassle that causes. So now, though, that I realize so many people are not utilizing drip emitters or backpack sprayers, yes, you can. If you watch the recent short that I made, which I might make into a full-length video and put several other tips over the several years, is that you can powder it, yes, but you got to filter that thing good. But if you're just watering from a watering can or from a pump sprayer, from the way I apply the aerated teas, with a sub pump, then it's not going to be a problem. Just filter it through cheesecloth and it's not going to be a problem. So that's the reason. It's not because the chemical reacts any different. So I want to put that to rest. Yeah. So I want to put that to rest. All right. If you want it a lot quicker, you can powder it. And I just made that short video on doing just that, my Instagram account. So Happy to Run For Me says, no ads with premium, totally worth it for how much time I spend on YouTube. That's what I'm saying. I can't believe all you guys don't have premium. I can't believe it. Why would you expose your mind to more advertising? To more blah, 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 blah. It's amazing. Since I got YouTube premium, it's been a couple years now. But for the first few years, I came back from the mountains, I didn't have YouTube Premium. And it was ad after ad after ad, and you'd have to get up and skip the ad and all that stuff. But YouTube Premium, $12 or $15 a month, to never have a single ad is amazing. It's like going back to 2009 or something. You just pull up something on YouTube and it's there. You don't have to even think about the ads. Lisa Brown says, I pay for premium also, and it's completely worth it. Yes. And see, that's much better than ad block because it doesn't take any money out of the pocket of the creators that are making the free content for you. And so you, because it's not exactly free at that point. You're paying, a little bit. So the content creator gets a small portion of that subscription. So, yeah. So, Big Wheel Dog says, Nate, I have 2 sugar baby plants going. One has a single melon and no new flowers, and the other has 2 and no new flowers. Is it too late for flowers? That's hard to say. That sounds like that plant's probably struggling in the first place if it's only produced that many. I would probably truncate the growing tip and let it focus on whatever is there. Unless it suddenly hits a growth spurt, I mean, we're talking 6 weeks. We got 6 weeks left. It could happen. It could probably happen. If it's post a picture of the plant to the Discord chat, and we'll see how. If it's a healthy looking plant, then just leave it. Just leave it. But as it gets closer, as it's like 3 weeks from frost, you want to cut off them growing tips. Yeah. Callis says, I made the calcium acetate with eggshells and vinegar for the first time last week, and the floating and bubbles stopped after 48 hours, much less than the 5 to 7 days. Is it still good to use? Absolutely. Now, again, like I just described, when you're in this kind of position, you have to say things that are really general and that are really safe to say. Meaning, when you say 5 to 7 days, that ensures that the reaction's totally done. And that, because it just changes sometimes. Sometimes it's 48 hours. Sometimes it's 5 days and they're still bubbling. And I don't really know what that variation is caused by. I mean, I have theories, but I don't know. And so it's safe to say it just changes sometimes. And so the 5 to 7 days is sure for everybody. So if the reaction is totally stopped and you got to use it now, then yeah, do it. But if you can wait, just give it a good stir and let it, stir. Okay? AK Froggy says, we'll keep asking it. We'll keep asking what? Let's see here. DLR says, it's deemed unsafe for compost. I'd consider it also unsuitable for JDOM. Hopefully Nate or an expert sees your question. Let's see, what is this question? Guys, there's so many questions. Oh, here's the one from Ronvig. Okay. The question is about sun's angle. We have the same warmth, same frost date, much more sun, but still am as high as Alaska. Wondering if peppers, etc. is hopeless. Not hopeless, no. But you need to figure out, you need to figure out, what do you mean hopeless? Why would it be hopeless? Are you saying because if you have the same frost dates, same warmth, same frost date, I wouldn't worry about the angle of the sun. Or are you talking it's not as intense? That the sun, there's more hours of sun, but it's not as intense. Is my reasoning, is that correct? Yes, Jacob Tiffin. Yes, peace be with you as well, my friend. So do you mean the angle of the sun? I mean the hours of the daylight, or what in particular? So, okay, AK Froggy says, we have a strange brown fungus here this year, and they recommend against composting it. Is it okay to make JDOM from affected plants? Oh, that's a very vague question. A strange brown fungus? I mean, that's hard to say, oh yeah, I know what that is. You should do it this way. But typically, and I've changed my tune a bit on that with the JDOM stuff. As far as using, like, I wouldn't use those plants to make JDOM things from. What I would do if you needed to is hot compost those plants. Get the hot compost going. Get it blazing hot. Cook them all. I mean, not blazing hot, appropriately hot. You'll see in the video next year. But I'm sure, there's countless videos on YouTube on how to hot compost. I would hot compost those things. I would not mess with it. So no, I would not make a JDOM. What do you mean? Make JDOM like JLF? I would not do it. I wouldn't, just because you don't know. That being said, it wouldn't really matter. JDOM advocates anything, the diseased plants and all of that. And I used to do it that way, but I was just getting more disease than I was comfortable getting, which for most people, that would already be phenomenal success. But I just demand perfection from myself and from my operation and from the setup. If it's not almost perfect, then I need to figure out why, and I need to change it. So I was, utilizing that is when, because the JDOM system is take diseased, affected plants and all of that, put it into the barrel, ferment it, and after just a few weeks or a month or a couple of months, you can start using it and putting it, you can apply it to the leaves of the plant, everything. That produced the highest incident of fungal issues and disease issues on the plants that I had in those couple of years when I was just doing the JDOM. You know, because my practice has changed, you know, over the years. I originally found it in Northern California. We were doing more the Elaine Ingham. We were doing the aerated compost tea and dry amendments. We were doing all of that. For the first handful of years, it was all about that. But then we also had the chemical, you know, growing as well. But it was all about that. The organic stuff was all about that. But then towards the end, when the money left, it was all about how can we cut every single cost that we can cut. So for those several years, we had to learn the K&F and the JDOM practices so that we could then cut all cost, you know, as low as possible and still have quality products. So then when I came back from the mountains and I had zero money, the number one factor was free. It had to be free. And so I was like, oh yeah, I JDOM and K&F. So, I mean, JDOM in particular is even cheaper than K&F. And so let's do that. And so, you know, I was doing that. Now, like I've said before, is it the best possible option of all? No, it's not. The aerated compost teas with the dry amendments and stuff produces superior results, but it's a lot more expensive, you know, and it's just different. It's just different. You know, so one's not better than the other. It's all about parameters. What are your parameters? So Mo says, what kind of disease were you seeing? Just curious. Plan on doing aerated compost tea next year, but more on the JDOM train this year. Did use more as a soil drench though. Yeah, so I really think that applying it to the leaves is where the issues comes in. And so that's what I'm feeling from the experience and stuff. And so the types of diseases I'm talking about is like anthracnose, downy mildew, definitely downy mildew, and wilt, bacterial wilt, fusarium wilt of certain types, just overall wilt on the melons and stuff like that. So you get, you know, just unhealthy. When the plants are not thriving, they'll just be susceptible to whatever diseases, you know. And so, but like I said, guys, it wasn't like the whole garden was just decimated. No, there was just a few here and there, which for most people is still totally a success. But for me, I was like, okay, why is that happening in a higher incident than it should be? So then I said, okay, well, now that I have a bit of money, we can invest in an aerator, in the dry amendments, the Viking granular. We can make the Viking granular and stuff way more solid. I mean, just bursting with life. Plants that are just loving life, guys. I mean, like this cabbage start here. This thing needs to go on the ground, but this cabbage start is ready to go. You know, it has definitely got a little bit of slug damage, but overall, not a problem. Very healthy, very perky, you know, ready to go. And this thing is going to thrive as soon as I put it into the ground. You see how it's erect and it's like praying up towards the sky. You see, that is what you want right there. How it's going, yes, like that, boom, because it's healthy and it's ready to receive. You can just tell it's ready to receive whatever it is. And so that is what you want. You don't want them to be all like, drooping down, heavy, waterlogged like that, trying to disperse whatever it is. You don't want them curled up like this, because that means that they're trying to get away from the sunlight or whatever else it is. So it's often a magnesium deficiency when you see that kind of curling, because they can't process all the light. So you just look at the plants and they tell you everything. They tell you. So you see how that's what you want to see in a nice healthy plant. So I'm going to plant this thing out, snip, 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 and going to bury it to about here. And then this thing is going to take off and thrive. Now, Sudha says, the fourth Wiseman says, domestic home garden, a cheap fish tank aerator is more than enough to aerate your liquid inputs. I don't know what you mean by that. We may disagree on that, though, definitely, from my experience. Now, cheap, I mean, the ones that are in the Amazon storefront are only like $25, $30, and it's a commercial grade, metal body, really good one that will last a long, long time. So, Air Liffy says, can anyone let me know if my comments are showing up in the chat? Yep, they are. So that is, now, Subodh Upadhyaya says, how effective is foliar feeding? In my experience, foliar feeding is very effective. Now, you'll hear people online and people in the comments, my Instagram and stuff like that, talking about, foliar feeding's a gimmick. Well, okay, what do you mean by that? And how much experience do you really have to even say something as absurd as that? They just want to say something that's confrontational, you know? And so the foliar feeding is very effective because plants can absorb. Watch my video that I made a couple of weeks ago about foliar feeding. I explain a bunch of things about the foliar feeding, but in particular for things like nitrogen. It's very good. Nitrogen, also calcium. Now, some people are like, well, calcium is an immobile nutrient. So it doesn't do anything to foliar feed. But see, I feel the opposite. Because it's immobile, meaning it can't pull it from other parts of the plant. If you see a deficiency, it's best to foliar with the calcium. And in the new growth, you will not see that same deficiency. So it is effective. Guys, if I could show you, I mean, I wish I had a YouTube channel from my years in the mountains and I could show you guys thousands, tens of thousands of plants that were under my care. And so I know it's hard to imagine, but it was all out 24/7. It was just all out. Okay. So, and I had all these chances to experiment, and that plant in particular is very, very hungry and very receptive. It expresses deficiencies quickly and obviously. And then when you use something, it corrects those deficiencies really quickly, and it just keeps growing so fast. So it was a wonderful chance to experiment with thousands of different things. That's where all this is coming from. It's not from me just having a little home garden where I just kind of spray little things. Oh, I think it works. No, I know it works. So I don't need to like explain myself any further. Now this is a Napa cabbage, guys. And again, do you see the theme here between these? What is the theme between these startups? Okay, so just pretend like these are off because they're going to be off. But I don't. Oh yeah, I do have some scissors. So we're going to, when I plant this, I'm going to take these off. I might even take these bottom ones off. Yeah. Yes. We're going to take these bottom ones off like that. And I'm going to plant this out like that. And so what is the theme that we are seeing here between these plants? We are seeing the health of the plants, that they are praying up toward, I call it praying, like they're out like this, outstretched. Yes, Hans Ketchup, they're green. That's another one. Although this is meant to be a lighter green color. This is the Golden Acres, or the Golden Beauty Napa cabbage. But what you're seeing is the health, the vitality of the plant, the erect. Yes, it wants to be alive. It wants to receive the nutrients and the sunlight, and it's happy and stuff. And it's relatively defending itself from pests. And so this is what we want to see. That kind of angle. This is really important. All right? That kind of angle. So these are healthy transplants, and this comes from just aerated compost teas and some foliar feeding of the bloom fertilizer, some foliar feeding, except I will add, like right now for these starts, I will add some fish fertilizer to the bloom spray. Yes, I will do that. Add some fish fertilizer to the bloom spray. And then it becomes a growth as well, a growth promoter as well. Whoa, Argyle Bargyle says, I used to care for 100 acres of 1 gallon pots. Am I reading that right? 100 acres of 1 gallon pots. Wow. 750,000 plants and calcium foliar, you can see the difference in leaf green hue within 8 hours. Thank you very much, because that's exactly right. So I wish I could pin that comment, because anyone who really has spent a lot of time with plants knows that foliar feeding is super effective, especially with calcium. So, and I'm saying this because like there was a big debate in some of my YouTube or my Instagram videos, you know, even though I don't really get involved with that kind of stuff, people love to debate, you know, and then you can tell that it's just a bunch of people with not much experience. Now look what I found. This thing missed. It was just off in the weeds. It fell over and it was off in the weeds, and it is wanting to flower. Beautiful little nasturtium. I'm probably going to plant it anyways. This thing was started on June 15th. It's been in here for so long. It's struggling to live. I mean, kind of struggling. But, oh, listen to the rain. Now, guys, this year I really began starting up everything. I mean, last year as well, but this year fully. Even beets. I even start up beets now. That I never did before. And you see how there's 3 beets in here? This is 1 seed put in there, and there's like 3 beets that come out. And so I'm going to take this whole thing and do like I've been doing, and take it out and then plant it very gingerly, very carefully. You have to be careful with that. You have to be careful with that. And so if you're careful enough and you do it right, there's no transplant shock, and these things will take right off. Even beets, and peas. I transplanted peas again this year as well, and they're thriving. So the beets, everything is getting transplanted from now on. I'm totally done starting things up, especially in a heavy mulch garden. There's just too much slug damage, slug pressure. It's just too much. So if you do it right, you can, yes. Alex Coonan says, Nate, have you seen the No-Till Growers Compost Tea Like a Pro video? They have a slightly different process for brewing compost tea. I have not seen that. I know the channel, but I have not seen that video. Maybe I will check that out. But there's all different kinds of ways to do it. Not a problem. Not a problem. So, yes, AK Froggy says, starting beets prevents them getting nipped off the moment they germinate. Yeah, with everything. That's why, I mean, I'm just not going to direct sow anything anymore, except carrots. I will direct sow carrots. But look here, we've got some dill that we're gonna plant out for the fall garden, just sprouting. We're gonna plant this out here real soon. And guys, guess what, man? These, if you're not on this train, you need to be on this train. Yes, the fermented tomato train, super delicious. You hear that? Yes. Fermenting, they're super tangy, super zingy, just basil and garlic and sea salt. It is amazing. So watch my video on it and then make you some with your cherry tomatoes. Okay, As Soon Pie says, can you make compost tea without the aeration? Because my farm has no electricity. I'm in the tropics with lots of sun and rain year round. Okay. No electricity. How are you watching this video? No, I'm kidding. But okay, in that case, JDOM, microbial solution, requires no electricity. That's another beauty of JDOM. It requires no electricity for the most part. So yeah, make JDOM microbial solution. Look at my video on JDOM microbial solution and make that. Absolutely, that will be effective for you. Apply it to the soil. I still don't like applying JDOM microbial solution to the leaves. I just don't. So Miles Rowan says, Nate, do you grow sunflowers? I am intending on using the dry stalks at the end of the season for garden infrastructure. Plus, they are beautiful and huge, of course. We do have sunflowers, but these are not the kind you're talking about. I know that. But yes, we have some Mongolian giants in the back right now. They're about 12, maybe 14 feet tall at the moment. Just started heading up making the head. So we will see. But yes, I do grow sunflowers. They're an incredible. I mean, I've had these giants before with just huge, thick stalks, 14, 15 feet tall, with a big old head on them. It's incredible. The engineering, the infrastructure, the structuring of the sunflower. I mean, how it can be a single stalk with these huge leaves and all this wind space and this top and this heavy head up top, and it can take strong winds and still not topple over. I mean, it's an amazing feat of engineering to contemplate that. So yes. VA Green says, are you recommending against spreading Labs as a foliar spray now? No. Labs is a wonderful foliar spray. Labs is a wonderful foliar spray. And it's very difficult to damage anything with it. You know, part of my, remember VA Green, part of my whole, a big part of my whole thing is simplifying everything. That's what I feel like is going to get the most people involved in growing food. That's the goal. To grow it in ways that nourish the land, of course. And so to overly complicate things is going to turn people off of it. And so everything that I do is distillation. And so to make it safe, to make it so no one's messing things up, I don't apply the JLF or even the JMS microbial solution to the leaves anymore. That just keeps it safe for everybody. Simplify it. You know, because, and it has to do with dilution rates and the salt involved, the salt involved in the microbial solution. And so, yeah, again, the only thing I apply to the leaves is the fish fertilizer and the aerated compost tea. But remember, the aerated compost tea has Labs, calcium acetate, and fish fertilizer in it, along with many other things. Yeah, Stonemason says, Nate, the guy with the world record for sunflower height lives in Fort Wayne. I know. He lives not far from here. World record last year, and is going to beat that record again this year, it looks like. But I've contacted him twice. Well, actually just once. I've contacted him. I want to do a video. I want to come and see it and take you guys with us and do like an interview. But I don't think he's feeling it. He never responded. And it was on Facebook, so I know, and he's not that, I know he's seen me. So I was like, hey, I'm also in Fort Wayne. Why don't we, you know, do a collaboration? But no response, so whatever. He probably doesn't want to give away his secrets, you know, but whatever. It's definitely not organic. There's no way. But the guy, check it out. The guy has built he's built like a tower around these things. And he builds it up as they get taller and taller. It's incredible. 26 feet, I think, was the one he did last year. So, yeah. Let's see. Look to Nature says, are there particular amendments that JWA should not be mixed with as a foliar? You know, again, JWA is not, so JDOM promotes mix JWA with everything. It's a wetting agent, so mix it with just everything. You know, it helps everything apply more and it helps everything stick more, and it's like a pesticide and stuff. But my experience is not that. So anymore, only if I have an issue will I apply JDOM wetting agent. And that is because its main thing is pest. It desiccates the pest. It really works good. So I really don't use that unless you absolutely have to. And so that is also why over these past several years having this channel, promoting the JDOM and the pesticide, the natural pesticides and stuff, I found that people tend to focus way too much on the pesticide issue. And they will, I got thousands, literally thousands of questions about, so, and even emails and stuff, dozens and hundreds of emails and stuff. So I've got this and this issue. So what should I spray on the plants? What kind of, should I use the JDOM sulfur? Should I use the Jerusalem artichoke? What should I spray on the plants? And at first, you know, I was given my recommendations based upon my experience and knowledge and stuff. But then now I've come to realize that people, it's sort of a Western mentality to focus on the effect, but not the cause. So it's like going to a Western doctor. They don't want to cure you. They just want to give you pills and medicine. They just want to give you stuff to mask the symptoms. Treat the symptom, not the cause. That's Western medicine. Whole Western mentality, really. And so it's good for business, because it ensures repeat customers. But when you look at your plants like that, you don't the sulfur, the jadam sulfur, the wetting agent and all of that stuff is more just for emergencies. What you need to be focusing on is the cause, the health of the plant. Because I know it sounds absurd, but if your plants are really healthy and thriving, then they can pretty much defend themselves against most things. They're not getting diseases. They're not really getting pest pressure, or not overwhelming. You'll have some pest pressure, like in this thing, so you'll have some pest pressure. You see, there's a little hole right there and stuff, and there's a little bit right there, but that's acceptable. I'm not going to spray the plants with it and be worried about it, because that detracts from the health of the plants. It really does. So instead, what I focus on is making the right soil mixture, putting them in the right location, and applying the right microbial things, the aerated compost teas and stuff. And so that is what... So, and then in the outdoor garden, focus on making the healthiest possible plants. And you won't have to use any of that stuff. It's only when your plants are sick that you really actually need to use that stuff. And so, yes. And Nima says, it makes sense because the same thing is true for the human body. Exactly right. And if you are thriving and healthy, eating a very low chemical diet, with healthy foods, natural foods, fermented foods, low and almost no preservatives and chemicals and stuff in your diet, you're not going to be getting sick. You're not going to need to constantly go to the doctor and have all these medications and stuff. But a lifetime of not living that way, and you're going to need that stuff. So, yeah. Yes. Yes, VA Green says, that's 100% true. My plants are raging this year. 0 pest problems, 0 disease problems. Yes, that is the goal. And it's possible. It's totally possible. Focus instead not on what pesticide can I make and use, but instead on how can I create the conditions so that the plant can just be so strong and resilient that it can just fight off any of that stuff. That's where the focus needs to be. And that's where... that's why my tune has also sort of been more directed towards that this past year or two. Kind of getting away from apply the jadam sulfur, then apply the wetting agent again, then the Jerusalem artichoke. You're constantly spraying the plants with stuff, and they just don't like that. So it's focus instead on the health of the plant, and you will have much better results. Guys, I can tell you the winner of the garlic is the Italy Hill Giant. I mean, it is so pungent, and they're nice big cloves. They're not like massive elephant garlic, but they're nice good sized cloves, and the cloves that are in there are easy to peel and big. So some cloves that are bigger than this will have like 25 little cloves in it that you got to peel. This has got like 6 or 7 cloves, giant cloves in it. And that's what I like. Maybe even less. So the Italy Hill Giant is going to be I think it's called Giant, but it's Italy Hill for sure. That's definitely the winner. Yeah. Yes. Now there was now I still didn't answer Ronvig's question, did I? Well, anyways, I can't really say that I would know what to do because I haven't had that situation. But it definitely is. That would be better for the plant. Less intense sun, but more hours of sunlight would be better for the plant. So, Nathaniel Graham says JWA should not be mixed with certain amendments as a foliar spray to avoid adverse reactions. Specifically, avoid mixing JWA with strong acids or bases. These can cause... This sounds like an AI. Is this the AI guy? I'm sorry. But these can cause chemical reactions that may damage plant tissues. Highly concentrated... this sounds like that AI guy in the Discord chat. I don't think that's who you are, though. Anyways, but as far as what to not mix JWA with, I would mix it with anything that you had to mix it with. The question is, why are you using it? That's the question. What issue has presented itself? So that's what you need to focus on. It is the guy. Okay, Nathaniel Graham. Okay, so I recognize this name. Says, yes, I left Discord and started my own server. Okay, wonderful. So you were here then for the whole talk. That's good. Okay, so it was an AI answer. I knew that. See, you can just tell. It's an AI answer. Nothing against you, my friend. And it's great that you started your own server. Maybe could we have a link to that or something? Because some people would like that. You know, it's nothing against you or what you're trying to do. It's just not what the Viking Tribe is trying to do. You know, so... Rusty Muffs says, hi, Nate. I've started my garden this year. I've found I've got docking leaves growing in the garden. Should I dig them out or let nature take its turn? Planning on digging over all the beds in October. Docking. What is that again? Docking. I'm not entirely sure. What I would... docking leaves, right? Docking plant. Let's see. Let's see, yellow dock or sour dock. Yeah, no, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. Oh, okay. I know what you're calling dock. That plant is a real pain. That plant is difficult to get out. It is difficult to get out. So I would dig it up. I mean, use it as composting material. But if you let that thing go, it has got a taproot on it that is unbelievably robust. You will try to dig that. If one little fraction of that taproot stays, the whole plant will regrow. So it is... Now, AK Froggy says, dock is a good medicinal plant, though. That may be. Now, I don't know about that. But even then, is it worth allowing it to infest the garden where the calorie crops are being grown? No, and not in my opinion. So it can be out somewhere else, but that thing will get huge and it will shade out anything else and it will overpower anything else. And if you try and rip it up, you'll just break it off. You'll just break off the leaves and it'll grow right back and suck all the nutrients from everything else. So I would, and I do when I see it, dig down, get that whole thing out of there. Okay. Signal Loss says, if AI was storing copyrighted info, it would be sued successfully. So an algorithm interprets what they say. Yes, I get that. It's not a database, right? It's just searching and configuring things. Yes, we get that. Rusty Muff says, I'm in Northern Ireland. Yeah, they grow a deep taproot. My garden is just below a wild field, so everything is just blowing in. They're good for nettle stings. Yes, okay. Vince Ramsey. Let's see. B. Hendricks says, your vibe attracts your tribe. Yes, absolutely it does. Nathaniel Graham says, if you want a 30-year agronomist and private AI to answer gardening questions, probably talking about himself and his AI engine, that some people will love that, my friend. And so make sure that your server is that we have a link to that or something, because some people might love that. Yeah, Togobogi says there is no need to take it out. Talking about the dock, you can leave it in the soil. It is super rich in elements, good for the soil. Yes, and that is, I understand that whole mentality. And there is a big thing about how, leaving all the weeds and stuff like that. They're good for the soil, and they are definitely rich in nutrients. But not in the garden space. So if it's anywhere where you're not trying to grow the actual crops, then sure. But are you telling me if you got a bed of beets or carrots, oh, just leave it. Just leave it. That thing will overtake all those. I mean, nothing that we grow, guys, you have to remember, none of these plants that we grow actually exist in nature. Beets don't exist like this. The cabbage don't exist like this. Virtually none of these plants exist like this in their wild state. They're all hybridized by humans over the millennia of time. And so they are always going to be weaker than the native things that have the home field advantage. So if you leave that dock in your bed of carrots or your bed of beets or cabbages, it's going to totally overtake and overpower anything else that is around it. So you will have issues. And so if you want to have a dock garden, then leave it. But if you want to grow food, then you have to take it out. So it's, yes, Small Scale Life says, I like that. Calorie crops. Excellent way to think about it and phrase it. Definitely. When I do consultations with people, I see them, and they're like, okay, I want a food security garden. And I'm like, okay, so let me see what you got. And they've got like 6 different kinds of lettuces and then some kale and then some cucumbers, and then a little bit of cabbage. And I'm like, okay, that's all good, but where's the calories? That stuff is what I call rabbit food in a way, in a endearing way. It's great for micronutrients and stuff like that. But if you're talking about sustaining yourself, you need the calories. Number 1 is potatoes. Number 1, potatoes of all different varieties. Sweet potatoes, corn, the beans and legumes and peas and green beans and all those other kinds of stuff with calories in them. That's what you focus on if you want that kind of garden. Yes. So the Nathaniel Graham says, by the way, Digital Master Chow AI is a private AI. It's not have access to the internet. Yeah, I just, there's going to become a time in human society, and we might be there already, where you're going to have to sort of choose what path you want to go down. The AI sort of digital world that we live in now, or the human world that are leaving behind in many ways. So you'll have to you're going to be forced into choosing of interacting and nourishing one or the other. My choice clearly is the human way. And so it's a digital master chow is not a master. The real master is the master. So it's just, we'll talk about this. We'll have a session on the Thrive Like a Viking channel where we talk about AI specifically, because I want to hear you guys' opinion on this as well. Being of this kind of tribe that grow your own food, do your own stuff, do for yourself, before anybody else does for you. Ooh, Muddy Paw says, I let the dock grow around to stabilize our tank dam and know it's there if I need it for harvest. Knowledge of useful plants in your area is a survival skill. Definitely. See, that makes a lot of sense. It's so you leave it there to hold the soil together. This is wonderful. This is how we use it to our advantage. Eden 3D, 10 euros. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, no question today, just a thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ooh, Sam Potzik says, y'all should check out the Thrive live streams if you're not already, and the practice. Yes, definitely, guys. Ooh, Sharon says, I have 5 different types of sweet potatoes growing, hoping for a good yield. Yes, definitely. Brian, yeah, I understand. Small Scale Life says, yes, that was what was interesting about inner city gardens. It is it is all lettuce and greens, not beans, potatoes, corn, and sweet potatoes. One outfit was really struggling getting greens to people. Yes, yes, it is. And the inner city ones, it's just different, you know? So, like a kitchen garden, you know, could be like, okay, well, I want some herbs to supplement my cooking and stuff, you know, because they're not really in the inner city gardens, you know, you got to do with what you got, you know? So, if you're on like a balcony that gets good sun exposure and you want one survival crop, it would be sweet potatoes because you can eat the leaves all along the way, all summer. Yeah, and then you have the tubers and they store longer than everything else. Kesia's Kitchen, am I saying that right? Kesia's Kitchen, is lasagna gardening worth it? So you're talking about the technique of layering different materials on top of each other and allowing it to decompose over time when and nourish the plants. Now that can work really well, yes, and I've used that several times in several different ways. But the thing is that it works, but you invite pests and diseases. So, and I have found this over the years. It's actually you invite more pests. That's how I got the symphyllans for sure. That's how I got the symphyllans here, and they're a joke. They're really difficult to get rid of. That's one reason I'm totally ripping out the whole garden this year. At the end of this year, and totally redoing it 100% from the ground up. So the bringing in high amounts of undigested organic matter, in my opinion now, can eventually lead to issues. Not always, but it's best if you have a smaller garden. It's best, Vince with them underculture comments. It's best to hot compost all that stuff first, and then apply it as compost, fully digested compost. It seems to just work the best. There's now it's the most work, but it produces the best result for high intensity. Yeah. Airliffy says, if I have solution grade calcium carbonate, can I use that as a substitute for eggshells and still make water soluble calcium? I don't know. Solution grade. Are you talking about the powdered calcium carbonate? Then I would say yes. I mean, without knowing, it's just pure calcium carbonate, powdered. Then I would say yes. I don't see it being any different, really. Yes, thank you, Cookie Monkey. Everybody remember to give a thumbs up, definitely. Jacob Tiffin says, I like composting in place. Yes, and I've done that for many years, and it works really well. Yeah. Yes. Oops. Big whale dog. Yes. So all right, guys. So let's see here. What are some? Oh, look at the time. 94 minutes already, guys. So I think that's going to be about it. All right. Now, the Thrive Tribe, we will be doing our thing Monday morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time on the Thrive Like a Viking channel. And we will be right here again next Saturday for another talk. And guys, join the Discord. And if you're not already, when you do the shopping on Amazon, if you shop on Amazon, enter Amazon through the link in the description. Yes? And I know many of you are already doing that because I can tell. So that way, whatever you purchase during that browser session, in Amazon I get the credit for, which is wonderful. Better than Amazon keeping it all. So let us practice doing that, all right? Noel Mayer says, hi, will Jadam sulfur help to control allium white rot? Supposedly it does. Now, I never had any effect with that, but we really want to make sure, but again, we want to seek out the cause. We want to understand the cause. So what we want to do is lay the sulfur down before we plant, put it into the soil. So we want to put it into the soil, the sulfur, at the time of planting, especially for alliums and potatoes. Yes? Project Old Man says, I discovered symphyllins in city leaf compost. Yes, dude, they're ridiculous. Sylvia Flores says, thank you, Nate. I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate you as well, my friend. Alex Coonan says, my compost tea gear is coming tomorrow. Pretty sure I did the Amazon link correctly. All right, good. Thanks. Small Scale Life says, first time here. Really good stream. I'll have to check you out some more. Nicely done. I need to get that aerator you have listed. Definitely, guys. Don't be afraid. It is not complicated. To make a 5-gallon bucket of aerated compost tea is super simple. And you can apply it. Anyone can do it. Just get you a little air pump and the ingredients. And it's so easy. So, Blue Wolf says, there is no AI in Viking. That's right. I like that. All right, guys. Thank you very much for everything. We'll see you next time. If you haven't already, watched the video I put out yesterday. It's awesome, of Jerry's place.